Hello students. Last time we saw the concept of how to find residue of a function at a singular point. Today we shall see a residue theorem, sometimes called Cauchy residue theorem. So let me go back to the method of computing residue. Recall that if f has pole at z0 of order n, then the residue of f at z0 is n minus 1 derivative at z0 upon n minus 1 factorial. You can see that formula on the screen. Residue of f at z0 equal to n minus 1th derivative at z0 upon n minus 1 factorial. Where what is g? G is z minus z0 to the power n fz. Why this is taken? Just few lines above on the screen you can see fz equal to c minus n upon z minus z0 to the power n. This is nothing but the Lorentz series expansion of f around z0. And since z0 is pole of order n, there are n terms with negative powers of z minus z0. That is 1 upon z minus z0, 1 upon z minus z0 bracket square up to 1 upon z minus z0 raised to n. With coefficients, of course, c minus 1, c minus like that. So if you multiply this entire Lorentz series by z minus z0 to the power n, you get fz into z minus z0 to the power n on the left hand side, and right hand side now you have only non-negative powers of z minus z0. Non-negative powers of z minus z0. Where we want to capture what? C minus 1. C minus 1 is the residue of f at z0. That was definition of residue. Now after multiplying this everything by z minus z0 to the power n, you get fz into z minus z0 to the power n equal to something, and c minus 1 into what? Z minus z0 to the power n minus 1. Okay. So whatever is the function on the left hand side you have, which we have called it now g. G is f z minus z0 to the power n into f. So now right hand side becomes Taylor series expansion of g, and coefficient of z minus z0 to the power n minus 1 must be n minus 1th derivative at z0 upon n minus 1 factorial. Therefore this c minus 1, which was residue of f at z0, becomes n minus 1th derivative at z0 upon n minus 1 factorial. So this was definition of residue, and then the method of computing the residue at point z0 when f has pole of order n at z0. So this was just revision of what we did last time. Then on the basis of that we did some examples like this, and I am sure you must have already gone through other examples from Churchill's book. So today we shall see what is residue theorem. What is residue theorem? So now this Cauchy integral formula we have done in the past, and then Cauchy integral formula for the multiply connected domains. So I want you to recall Cauchy integral formula for multiply connected domain. You must be remembering that there is a curve, and inside that curve there are some finitely many closed curves again. So C is the bigger curve. Z1, Z2, Zn are suppose points inside that C. And around Z1, Z2 again you have some circles or closed curves around each of these points Z1, Z2, Zn. So suppose C1 is curve around Z1, C2 is curve around Z2, and so on. Then recall that we learned Cauchy theorem for multiply connected domain, okay, which is nothing but integral over that whole curve C is integral over C1 plus integral over C2 plus integral over C2 up to integral over Cn. This Cauchy residue theorem is a simple application of that Cauchy theorem for multiply connected domain. So let us see the statement of Cauchy residue theorem. If gamma is a simple positively oriented contour and f is simple closed, it's a closed curve, and f is analytic inside and on gamma except at point z1, z2, zn inside gamma. So there is a closed curve and there are finitely many points z1, z2, zn inside that closed curve gamma, such that f is analytic everywhere on and inside gamma except possibly at point z1, z2, zn. So z1, z2, zn may be singular points of f inside gamma. Then the residue theorem says that integral of fz over this gamma is equal to 2 pi I times sum of the residues at zj, of course, of the function f. So you compute the residue of each of the residue of f at each of these points z1, z2, zn. Add these residues, multiply by 2 pi I, that will give you value of the integral of f over gamma. Okay, so this theorem is used in computing the integrals of functions over closed curve if there are finitely many points at which function is not analytic. See, Cauchy theorem says that if function is analytic on and inside a closed curve everywhere, then integral over closed curve is 0 in fact. But this situation is that you have a simple closed curve. F is analytic on and inside this except some points. So there are some points inside where f is not analytic. In that case, you apply this Cauchy residue theorem. Okay. So in that case, the integral is computed by computing the residues at these points. Now for finding residues at these points, you use the formula that I showed you just now and also in the last lecture. Okay. So let us say the proof now. Let Zk with Z1, Z2, Zn be centers of positively oriented circles Ck which are interior to gamma. So inside gamma you draw circles around these points where f is not analytic. So C1 is circle around Z1, C2 is circle around Z2 and so on. Cn is a circle around Zn. And these circles you can draw small enough such that no two of these circles will have point in common. So now this picture is like Cauchy theorem for multiply connected domains. So you have a big circle or closed curve, say gamma, and inside that closed curve gamma there are small circles which do not have points in common. So small circles C1, C2, Cn. Now these circles Ck together with the simple closed contour gamma form a boundary of a closed region throughout which f is analytic. So only points where f was not analytic is Z1, Z2, Zn. Now they are inside those small circles. So outside this small circle and inside gamma, we know that f is analytic. Okay. Once that is true, directly we can apply Cauchy-Gursa extension theorem or what we call as Cauchy theorem for multiply connected domains. Then you directly get that integral of fz over gamma is equal to sum of the integrals over these small circles. So this integration over a larger simple closed curve is equal to integral over each of these small circles inside. This theorem we have seen in past in classroom when we had this Cauchy theorem and its extensions. Okay. By joining paths and these paths, opposite paths get cancelled out and so on, if you remember. So integral over the larger circle or larger closed curve is equal to sum of the integrals over the smaller curves. So this is Cauchy-Gursa theorem for multiply connected domains. Now integral over the small circle Ck, that is by definition it is 2 pi I times residue of f at Zk. See, this we saw last time that if there is only one point inside the circle where f is not analytic, then integral over that circle is 2 pi I times residue at that point. So now substituting this in the earlier formula, that is integral over gamma is sum of the integrals over Ck, but integral over Ck is 2 pi I times residue of f at Zk. So immediately the statement of the theorem follows that integral over gamma is 2 pi I times sum of the residues. So the residue theorem statement as well as its proof is very simple. It is just an application of Cauchy-Gursa theorem. You write Cauchy-Gursa theorem and interpret each of the integrals over smaller circles which are inside gamma as 2 pi I times residue of f at z. This is definition of residue. Let's see some examples. So suppose you want to evaluate 1 minus 2z upon z times z minus 1, z minus 3. So what are singular points? 0, 1, 3. Okay. Now what is gamma, the larger circle given here in this example? Mod z equal to 2. Circle with center at origin, radius 2. Singular points are 0, 1, 3. So 0 and 1 are only singular points inside gamma. See, Cauchy residue theorem talks about the singular points inside gamma. So 3 singular point, but then 3 is outside gamma. So here we are concerned about only point 0 and 1 which are inside gamma. Now first thing is compute residue at these points. So residue of f at 0. Now that formula will come into picture. So at 0 means this z goes away. That means you multiply by z. Remaining part is 1 minus 2z upon z minus 1 into z minus 3. Take limit as z tends to 0 directly because it is simple pole. Okay. Suppose it is a pole of order 2, then you take first derivative. Pole of order 3, then second derivative and so on. Here it is simple pole. So directly multiply by z. The remaining part 1 minus 2z upon z minus 1, z minus 3. Take limit as z tends to 0. You directly substitute, you get 1/3. Similarly, residue of f at 1. Now you take away z minus 1. So remaining part is 1 minus 2z upon z into z minus 3. Take limit, you get 1/2. Add the residues. Residue of f at 0 plus residue of f at 1 is 1/3 plus 1/2. Okay. Then you get 2 pi I times sum of the residues is equal to 2 pi I times 1/3 plus 2/3, that is 5 by 6. 2 pi I times 5 by 6 is 5 pi I by 3. So integral over that given circle mod z equal to 2 of the given function turns out to be 5 pi I by 3. So residue theorem comes in handy because now you don't have to use any definition of that f of zt into z dash t dt and so on. Directly you get answer 5 pi I by 3. Second problem, cos z upon z square into z minus pi bracket cube. So z square in the denominator means 0 is pole of order 2. Z minus pi bracket cube means pole of order 3 at z equal to pi. So circle given is mod z equal to 5. So both these singular points 0 and pi are inside gamma. So now we have to compute residues of the given function at these 2 points. So residue of f at 0. Now this is pole of order 2, 0. So first derivative after multiplying by z square. So first derivative of cos z upon z minus pi bracket cube, that is computed and take limit at z tends to 0. Comes out to be minus 3 by pi to the power of 4. You check these computations. Similarly, residue of f at pi means that z minus pi bracket cube, that factor will go. Remaining analytic part is cos z upon z square, but it is pole of order 3, so you have to find second derivative. Second derivative of cos z upon z square, that is computed and then take limit as z tends to pi. That comes out to be this. Add these two residues. So 2 pi I times sum of the residues will be value of the integral. So this is the application of residue theorem. That is, you can compute integral of a function on a simple closed curve where there are finitely many points inside at which function is not analytic. So for practice you have these problems, that is sin z upon z minus z square minus 4 and the circle is mod z equal to 5. Now you factorize z square minus 4, you get z minus 2, z plus 2, and then 2 and minus 2 are both inside this circle. Compute the residue, both are simple poles. Add the residues, 2 pi I times sum of the residues will be value of the integral. And same thing you carry out for every problem here. 0 and 2 are singular points. Z raised to 4 plus 1 in the denominator in third problem means it is you factorize z raised to 4 plus 1, you will get 4 roots. 4th roots of unity. Okay. So 1 minus 1 I minus I. All are inside mod z equal to 3. And then you compute this. So go back to book, Churchill's book. See the section on Cauchy residue theorem. Read these notes also. See these solved examples and try to solve these exercises. Okay, goodbye.